Mitch here at Hard Intentions YouTube channel, shooting another video with Matt. How you doing, Matt?
Doing good, Mitch.
So you did a few years in CDC, California prison system. So I'd like to start off with how old were you when you were arrested?
I was 20 years old. I got arrested in 1991.
All right.
And I paroled in April 2017.
All right. So what was your original charge, and did you go through a trial or take a deal, or what was the
Well,
deal there?
yeah, that was funny because I was so young. I didn't really understand the whole legal system, so I ended up taking a deal. I took a deal at San Diego County for 38 to life, and I did it for kind of like I didn't want to see my parents that a trial and the victims. So and I ended up doing 27 on 38 years, 27
Right.
years.
All right. So how long have you been out now?
I parole. I'm going on 2 years. I'm coming up on 2 years. I started out in LA County, and then did 9 months in
Right. So we'll get to that. So you've been out almost 2 years now. So like when you first you took your deal, you went to like a reception center and then off to prison, or how long were you in the county jail for you?
About a year. I was in Vista County.
Okay,
Vista
so
County Jail.
then you went off to a reception center.
Yeah, Donovan, Yard 1.
All right. So you went to one of the newer prisons as a reception.
Yeah.
And so, like when you got arrested, you sat in the county jail for a year. What was that experience like for you? Sitting in that county jail, and did they offer you a deal right away, or did you have to work for that, or how long was it before you decided to take the deal?
I took a deal about eight months into that into my stay in county jail. That county jail was Vista County Jail was real. There was a lot of racial tension, and it seemed to be with the whites and the Mexicans there. So, it was a bad experience for me. It was just like riot after riot in there.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
So, like, were you in a single cell? How many guys are in a cell with you there?
I started out at E4. I don't know if that part of that county jail is still there, but it was like high power for like high cases, like murder cases. They tried to keep all them guys together.
So, hey, Matt, were you in a single cell when you're in the county jail there, or do you have cellies, or what? What was going on?
Yeah, I had cellies, different cellies. One of them I'm still in contact with.
So how many? You have like older cats in the cell with you. How many guys did you have in a cell with you? Was it just 2-man cell, or?
It was like a 30. If I remember right, it was like a 30-man dorm, kind of like a smaller dorm with two-man cells.
All right. So were there like older cats in there giving you advice, or what was that? Were you just kind of like floating around on your own, or what?
Yeah, kind of like floating around on my own. I kind of like gravitated towards one or two people.
All right. So what was your original charge?
It was first-degree murder robbery.
All right. So were you like using drugs on the street prior to getting arrested, or?
Yeah, I mean that story in itself is like, it's a real long story, but
Yeah.
What I remember most is I didn't have hope. I thought I was
just wondered if you were like using drugs, and then like.
Yeah, I was using drugs.
Once you went to the county jail, did you go through like let's say it's a transition, like you're using drugs, and then boom, all of a sudden you're not, and there you are facing a life sentence,
Yeah, actually, when I woke up in Vista County Jail, I thought it was a dream. Actually, I'd stayed up so long. I was in this like alter reality. I didn't even know none of that happened. until I got
Wow.
a sleep, and reality hit, and then it was
Yeah.
like the seriousness of the time I was facing.
Right. Right. So you didn't have guys in there like explaining to you like what was going on, what you were
Yeah,
faced with or dealing with.
yeah, not too much in county jail, but when I got to reception, I had a couple older cat cellies, that were schooling me on stuff. I'd ask them questions. Being that young, I turned actually 21 in Vista County, so I was 21 when I hit reception, and then it just seemed like that part of my life just seems like a fog now.
Yeah. Yeah.
You
So
can.
the advice you were given there in the reception center, what do you think about it now, looking back? Like,
Well, I asked my
did it help?
cellies.
Did it help prepare you for what you were facing, or was it just bullshit?
Well, I remember I asked one of my older cellies, man. I go, "Hey, man, how do you know if you're going to get stabbed?" He told me, "You'll be the last to know." And I kind of like carried that mentality. I didn't. You know what I mean? You don't trust nobody.
Yeah, yeah,
Your best friend will stab you in the back, especially not nowadays.
yeah. But you didn't know that in the beginning, right?
Nah, I didn't
So
know that.
when he told you that, did he explain that to you? Like, hey, your best friend will stick you in the back, or
You know what? That's really what he taught me back then was how to roll bugler cigarettes. So I used to roll my own cigarettes when I smoked, and that's how that he showed me how to roll cigarettes, and he told me you'll be the last to know. Trust and believe that.
yeah.
But
All right.
I mean,
So
if you think about it, that's pretty good advice.
yeah, I mean, looking back, So where'd you go from the reception center? You went off to a regular joint for a while, or
Well, it's kind of ironic because in '91, I guess, I mean, there's a lot of intricate parts to my case, but it happened on
yeah,
Halloween night.
right.
And they were tripping on that, so they sent me to CMC for a psych evaluation, and I went there for 6 months, and then went back down to Donovan,
All right. And that's where I met you on the Donovan on the
and
main.
that's yeah.
All right. All right. And so uh what were you doing like how are you dealing with like all of a sudden now you have this life sentence and you're on you're still pretty fresh to prison and stuff, right? And
Yeah.
at Donovan, you were at Donovan, they had lifer programs there. Guys have been in prison doing life sentences for quite a while. You had a brand new life sentence. So what was that like for you?
Man, it was a trip because they had me going to the gym over there on the yard we were at, and they had the Cat T and the Cat X programs there and stuff. And I used to go and sit in some of them groups. But like I said, I had just fell and I had all this time. It was like, is this worth it? Some of it stuck, but most of it didn't because when I hit them yards, man, it was like survival mode. You
Yeah,
know, I
yeah,
went through. It wasn't like you could go kick back and just like walk the yard and with your shower shoes. I mean, it was pretty rough back then, man.
yeah, yeah,
I don't know how it is like now, as far as they're trying to integrate these prisons, but it was pretty bad back then.
yeah, yeah, yeah. So what'd you do like to fill your time? Like I mean, what was your mindset like
Well, yeah, back then, I was married. I got married to uh, I don't want to say her name, but I was married and I was getting family visits.
yeah,
And then that's actually what I was working for. And then they took them away from lifers. They took our weights. They
yeah,
took all the stuff, man. And I just went off the deep end, man.
yeah.
After I left Donovan, I went to Corcoran, and then
Right.
it seemed to just go from bad to worse.
So I know you got in trouble for getting some tattoo work there in Donovan, right?
Yeah.
And California prison systems operate on a point system. So Donovan prison was a level 3 prison, so your points went up. You went to level 4, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, I went down to Corcoran, and it was funny. Donovan was petty. I remember the 115s. They sent me to the they sent me to the infirmary and did these pictures, and it was just it was insane. But
So they took
I ended
pictures of your
that
tattoo
those
work. Is that what
15.
you're saying?
Yeah, yeah, for evidence and stuff. They were, and that was back in the '90s. They were doing that, you know.
So
But
let me ask
I
you.
ended up getting.
Let me ask you. Did you get the feeling like they didn't want you there, or they were trying to bump you out of there, or?
Well, you know the story. They moved me out of your cell, and then wrote me a 115 the next day, and then a week later I was on a bus.
Yeah.
You know, they actually. I was on a bus to Pelican Bay, but luckily, I had a hardship because I'm from San Diego, and they were trying to send me all the way up north. You know, so I
Yeah.
ended up filing some paperwork, and they ended up sending me to Central California, and they did that. It was like on the borderline. It wasn't Corcoran. If I believe right, Corcoran's not northern or southern, isn't it? Isn't it like middle?
Yeah, it's right in the middle. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, that's where they sent me, and now
And
that
so, what was that like? Was that like it was a higher level prison? So what was that experience like for you going to a higher level prison? I know like Donovan, they didn't have any. They just had Southern Hispanic, Mexicans and Pisces, and then at Corcoran they had both Northerners, Southerners. They had a bunch of different groups of people. What was that experience like going to a higher level prison?
I remember it was more. It was more structured as far as like the races, I remember the Northerners only had a little spot on the yard where they were worked out, and I thought that was kind of weird. You know, the Southerners had them in check, but when we go to yard, it was it was a lot more structured. They wanted stuff on the yard, so me and my celly, they had this cop there. The CO, I won't say his name, but he was pretty cool, you know, for the
Yeah.
most part. He was pretty
So,
cool, and he got me a job on the yard crew. Me and my celly were working on the yard crew. We were taking out we were going out at 5:30 in the morning and turning the sprinklers on and taking everybody's wine and knives to the yard every morning as they walked the chow. We'd go walk by with a wheelbarrow
yeah.
and make sure the homeboys were hooked up.
Yeah. So when you were there, you weren't allowed to work like behind the wall. You were kind of limited in your
Yeah, I was. They had a
program was limited, or what?
yeah, they had a.
When you're in Corcoran, what was your day like? What was your daily grind like? You're brand
Yeah,
new to prison, you're young, had a restricted program. So what was your day like?
my as I said, I'd start out in the morning. I was on yard crew, and actually that job got me out of the cell. So I'd get up at 5:30, and they'd pop us out. Me and my celly, we go out there and water the lawn and and just take care of stuff. Play handball.
Yeah.
I loved basketball, man.
Yeah.
Just things like that until lunch, and then they lock you down for an hour, and then let you out at 1, and then you get a couple more hours of yard. And then,
Yeah.
like I said, 3 o'clock it was over. Like
Yeah.
pretty much lights out.
And so I know you and I were sillies at Donovan for a while. And then, of course, I got in some trouble and they sent me to Corcoran. And I was on the yard with you there in Corcoran. And once my celly went to the hole there, we became cellies at Corcoran also.
Yeah.
And I remember you used to come in and tell me, that you saw different groups of guys moving stuff around the yard, and then you'd relocate stuff and all that. So, I mean, give me an idea, like, like having that guy tell you, you'd be the last one to know about getting stabbed, remember? And then all the stuff that was going on in higher level prison. What was going through your head there?